Hi, I think I need to sit down. Is everything set up? I've got a bit of a confession to make. I know I have been a naughty, naughty boy. Let's set this up right wherever. Oh, I'm still got my tea here. Owen, this tea is fantastic. Right, let's jiggle a few things. Let's get this working right. Shall I begin? Yes, as I said, I have a confession to make. That was me scraping my van on Monday morning, the 2nd of January 2023. New year, new me. No, it's the same. New year, same me. Yeah, I know. For those of you who were pretty smart, picked up a few things, but let's go back 3 weeks from that date. The Telford 10K. The whole point for me on that 10K series was to qualify for England Masters, but I missed out on the Telford 10K. No excuses. We all raced in the same conditions. Yes, it was snowing. Yes, it was freezing conditions. Yes, it was gritted surface and not all comfortable, easy. I couldn't run in my super bouncy shoes because I didn't feel comfortable with, potential ice or whatever. But yeah, I could pile on the massive amount of excuses, driving through a snowstorm and all that type of stuff. But hey, no excuses. Yeah, I missed out on my place for England Masters place 10K by 80 seconds. It doesn't sound much, but in 10K, that's a long way away. A minute and 20 seconds. Or was it more, a little bit? Anyway, I was way off. I think I was 5th on gun time, 6th on gun time, 5th on chip time, yeah. Although those times it's a bit like comparing Strava times with your actual chip times, yeah. But anyway, that's another story. So I'd missed out. I didn't qualify for the England Masters 10K team. Felt disappointed, but still was thrilled to have a new lifetime personal best. So at this point, I had a decision to make. Yeah, it was the 11th of December. We're coming up to Christmas. Do I just chill out now and rest and relax? Because I also had the Mammoth Marathon at London where I got the new Guinness World Record. Had I allowed my body to recover, could I just chill out for the rest of the year, enjoy Christmas, blow out like everybody else, New Year's Eve, wild parties and all that type of stuff? Or, which some of you smart guys picked up, yeah, and talk about being smart. For those of you who haven't already done so, please do give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. And hit that alarm bell, because by the time you get to the end of this story, hopefully it will inspire and maybe motivate a lot of you. Some of you may be going for Masters places in whatever country you live in, because life, whatever ages we are, it continues, yeah? But as I was saying, some of you smart ones had picked up. One of you did comment, would I be doing the Regent Park 10K? Because there are a number of races that I could do. So there was literally 2 races left for me to do the qualifying for England Masters at 10K. One of them was the Regent Park 10K, which was on the 8th of January 2023. And the other one was the North Lakes 10K, which is in a town called Cockermouth. Yes, you heard that correctly. Cockermouth, in the North Lakes, Lake District, England, a long way away. So those were the 2 races left, and that was the 2nd of January. Now, obviously being North, so 2 choices. My preferred choice, as much as I love the Lake District, I was looking more at logistics, getting there, staying at places, because both of them would have involved an overnight stay. But one of them would have been a nice simple train ride to London, and I could have done a bit of tourism around London and all that type of stuff. And the other one was a 250 mile each way, so that's a 500 mile round trip, 5 hours approximate travel time each way, so 10 hours for a race time of what would be less than 40 minutes. So I had those 2 choices, but the choice was made for me. And because here in the UK, we've had rail strikes, and literally the whole of that week, or the week just gone, there was no trains down to London from here in Worcester. So the choice was made for me. I had to drive. Yes, I could appreciate I could drive down to London as well, but logistically that would be more difficult for me. And also it was like a New Year journey for me to see the Lake District again, because I hadn't seen it in about 2 years, and I'd literally been to that very same spot. Well, I went to Keswick, to be exact, Lake Keswick, or Keswick Lake, I think it's called. I can't remember the name of the lake there, but there's so many lakes because it is the Lake District. But what's renowned at this time of year, or that time of year in the Lake District, is cold, wind, snow, all that type of stuff. So could it be a replication of Telford 10K? Let's see. So North Lakes 10K it was. But by the time I'd made that decision, looked at all logistics, I went to the website, and lo and behold, they were sold out. Gone. Yeah. But I messaged, because for me, I don't give up that easily. Yeah. So there was an email address, and I did explain, because I was literally halfway through registering, and I think I might have been literally on the last spot. And by the time I hit confirm, it said sold out, even though it allowed me to enter everything. So I must have literally, someone had registered a minute whilst I was typing, getting my credit card out. But anyway, long story short, I emailed the organiser, says what's happened, and they said, sorry, we're sold out, but we can put you on the waiting list. And that, I thought, was that. So I was racking my brain, right, do I need to drive down to Regent's Park? Because that was the other option. So there was a lot of things up in the air that I was unsure about. So, I had 3 weeks where I could train for the Regent's Park 10K, but it was essential that I would have the week's recovery from Telford 10K. So follow that recovery from that, because I did really give it me all, and it's important that we recover. But I was still unsure, because there was that 6-day difference between North Lakes 10K and the Regent's Park 10K. So what type of training do I need to kick off? But then on Tuesday, the 20th of December, I get an email from the organisers that some extra places had been allowed. And oh, how quick did I click on that registration, send them the details. I was in. Yes, I was down for the 10K, North Lakes 10K, because let's think about it. If I still hadn't qualified North Lakes 10K, I could go for the Regents 10K. But hey, I'm all in, all out, whatever you want to call it. North Lakes, here we come. So now I started the training, what I could, of literally 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks from Tuesday the 20th of December to the 2nd of January to basically get my body or maintain my fitness that I'd gained for the Telford 10K, albeit a completely different route. So I effectively copied and pasted the training that I'd done for the last 2 weeks before Telford 10K, followed that through. I also done a long range weather forecast check to see whether there was going to be snow, wind, rain, whatever. And it looked rather pleasant. Whilst it said rain, thankfully it didn't say snow for that day. So I thought, forecast around 6 degrees, 4 degrees, that's what it was. So for me, above freezing, everything looked okay. Still, Baltic cold, running in 4 degrees Celsius is still not pleasant in the pouring rain, still not good. But for me, better that than running on ice, yeah? So it all looked okay, everything was fine, and I thought, but obviously long range forecasts can change. And it was a different weather on race day itself. I make no apologies for stating the obvious, or stating the obvious. Yes, without overindulging over New Year's Eve and also Christmas parties and so on. And I think John and Dawn mentioned when we completed the Telford 10K, Masters runners as well. I don't know if you've seen their channel, get along there, the 2 running brooms. I wasn't feeling good at all after the Telford 10K. So I had to take some tablets and stuff. I was getting a bit of a fever, temperature. I think it was a combination of the stress, the training, and running in those conditions. So I was recovering from that. But I also had another thing that come on. So yeah, more excuses. I wasn't really feeling my best between Christmas and New Year. But it is what it is. For me, New Year's Eve, because I wasn't feeling good, I did pop some ibuprofen to help with my temperature. And I went to bed, I think about 7 p.m. New Year's Eve. I know, I'm a proper party reveller, aren't I? But I was up New Year's Day. New Year, new me. No, New Year, same me. I was up at about 6:30 a.m. basically getting ready because I needed to do, logistically, I needed to get my training run in, needed to pack, get up to the van, get the van loaded up and start heading up on what was basically elapsed time about 5 hours travel time, 250 miles to get up from Worcester all the way up to Cockermouth in the Lake District. The drive up was interesting because it was almost literally up to a certain point. I think we started getting torrential rain around Stafford area, so it was dry here in Worcester. Then we got heavy rain in Staffordshire. Then it cleared around the Blackpool area, and then literally as we were going further north, beyond, I had a bit of a pit stop at a service station. As we got further north, it got extremely windy and torrential rain. The windsocks that were on the motorways, which you get around that area because it's quite exposed, the windsocks were horizontal. That's how windy it was. So I was now beginning to think, what was this weather forecast? But hey, it is what it is. Got to the hotel, unpacked, debunked, had my meal, went to bed early again. I didn't take any paracetamols or ibuprofen or anything like that. I was beginning to feel better, but I thought, I'm quite an organic type person. I'm not really into taking drugs unless it's absolutely necessary, you know, in terms of helping with any fevers or illness and so on. But I thought, no, let's ride this out. But all the way through, I was remaining hydrated and making sure I was looking after my health, wellness and all that type of stuff. So it comes to morning time. Yes, it's now Monday the 2nd. I was up before 7 a.m. and I went over to my van because I'd left some of the shoes that I'd be running in or potentially running in. I left some gear in the van. So I went to the van and it was frozen over. Yeah. Now I'm scared. I checked what the temperature was. It was -1 Celsius. So it'd gone from +6 the previous evening to -1, literally in a couple of hours. And now I was scared because the van was frozen over. I couldn't really open the doors well. The swing doors I 100% couldn't open. But eventually I got to open my driver's side. So basically that's when I started to scrape off some of the ice. It wasn't good at all. But I got changed. I'm ready to go. I had my new race shoes, yeah? And I thought, let's try these. So I drove over to the car park. So thank you to the Cockermouth Football Club because parking there was so convenient to get to the race start and so on. So I went to Race HQ, picked up my bib, paid my $20 because obviously I hadn't paid, so it's cash there. And yeah, got my bib, went back to the van, changed, got everything ready for my warm-up. Also put my GoPro on my harness here, ready to go. Stepped out of my van and I was about to go off on my warm-up run and almost slipped onto my backside. I'd barely ran a few hundred yards and the Endorphin Pro 3, I didn't feel comfortable at all running in those because the extra bounce and obviously with the icy patches on the roads, as I say, I nearly slipped onto my backside and wouldn't have been able to start the race, let alone run it in whatever time I would run it in. So I then went back to the van and went to plan 2, where I picked up the New Balance shoes that I had from Telford 10K because I use those. I much prefer racing flats. I know it's a bit controversial to, you know, the current mainstream. You've got to have these super carbon plated, bouncy, mega shoes, whatever. But whilst I appreciate the New Balance Pacer does have a carbon plate in it, the stack height is considerably lower and I can feel the road more and feel the speed. And also it worked well for me at Telford. So I thought, right, for the sake of however many seconds I may potentially lose by not having the super stack, I'd rather stay on my feet than fall on my backside during the race and the race is over. Makes sense really, doesn't it? With it being so cold, thankfully I had my dry robe with me. So that was able to keep myself warm. And I literally got to the start and at the start line, I debunked all my clothes, gave all the gear to my partner and she put the robe on to keep herself warm. And yeah, I then stood at the start. There was a delay for the start. I don't know what happened, why there was a delay. Not that much, not a big issue, but it does add to the time that I'm in just my vest and sleeves. And with it being, I think it'd risen to 0 degrees now. So. But everything was still icy patches around, so I had to be mindful of that. The race starts, off we went, yeah. But it was that section where there was icy patches, so I was tentatively and gingerly running along there. And then as soon as we took a right turn, we were running into the sun. Now that's where I'd been doing my warm-up, so that's why I was running with a visor. And also with it being so cold, I needed to keep my ears warm, so I have a little buff around my ears, and that's what I used for that particular race. And off we went, and within literally a kilometre I could see a guy pass me in the V60 category. So I thought I need to keep up with him at least. A number of guys had already gone off and sped off. I don't know what age groups they were, but I knew I couldn't keep up with them. So for me, it was all about staying on my feet and racing. And that's when I got into a particular groove. I couldn't make benefit of the first downhill bit, but the course was literally an out and back. So around a particular village and then back the way we came. For one reason or another, and the conditions, I don't know what was going on, but I was running as quick as I felt I could, but keeping it comfortable, not overdoing it. It wasn't until around 5k, and I think there was a bit of a downhill bit, that's when I kicked and went for it and left the runner that I'd been with up to that point, and there was gap behind me, but there was a massive gap up to the other guys. Whether I should have kept up with one of the other runners, I think he finished in a couple of minutes ahead of me, so he was clearly negative splitting all the way. But I kicked on from the 5k, and I was feeling good. I felt confident now. I could see on the road, so the sun was behind me, so I could see ahead. And if there was any icy patches, I could avoid those icy patches. The only issue is coming up, there was a 2 kilometre climb. Now, it wasn't the last 2 kilometres because there was about 3 kilometres left, but 3 kilometres out, there's a climb that started. Now, we did have this downhill as well. So what goes down goes up as well. But I slowed so much, I think I'd lost about 30 seconds on one of the kilometres and then about 20 seconds on another kilometre. But everyone's racing in the same conditions. But once I got to the top of that hill, I knew it was a bit of a downhill, uphill, and then towards the finish. I felt great. I even exclaimed, you know, England Masters, here we come. I felt confident enough that I had my place because nobody was going to pass me at this point. Nobody. I didn't know exactly what position I was in, but once I passed that downhill, I just went for it and pushed on and finished that 10k, and I felt amazing. I was completely out of breath. I didn't know what position I was, how I'd done, how I felt. All I knew is I gave it my all and I felt great. And I saw my partner, we were just laughing together, and I felt, you know I'd gone under 40 minutes. The watch had said 39 minutes something. Not my quickest by any long shot, but it was about 2 minutes off my Telford time. But bearing in mind, Telford is the fastest 10k route, and this particular route, Lake Districts, stating the obvious, the lakes are hilly. That's right. So, yeah, undulating course, not my fastest. And then, whilst I was out, I saw one of the organisers and I was so excited. And other people finishing. I did see that V60 guy, MV60, finish behind me. And we were all chatting with all the other runners, all the other Masters runners. There was a lot of ladies Masters runners there as well as men's Masters. And we were just chatting, congratulating each other. I did see the organiser, so I went to him. I says, oh, any results? You know what? He went onto the website, showed it. And in terms of the categories, it showed that I'd come third in the 55 to 64 age category. So I don't know why they categorised it that way. But then obviously there was the Masters category, which is 60 to 64. So I knew that I'd qualified even if it was 55 to 64 because I was third in that group. But it turned out that in the 60 to 64, I was first. Yeah! Oh, hallelujah! Yes, I had done it. I came first in my age category. I had qualified for England Masters 10k at my second attempt, but I'd done it. I was so determined to do it. I'd made those sacrifices, as we say, through Christmas, New Year, not overindulging, maintaining my fitness. Despite coming in a time 2 minutes slow, it was a much tougher course for me. But the joy and elation, and as you can imagine, on the drive back. Campione, 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 yeah! Woo, 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 woo! Oh, The drive back, the glorious Lake District. It was sunny. Yeah, it was still freezing cold, but I'm now back in my van driving back, and we drove and stopped off in West Yorkshire to stay with some friends and shared the joy with the family there. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. So my friends, a lot of you regular subscribers will know once I set my mind to something, most, not always, I achieve it. And it's not to brag or to say, oh, look at me and all that, or boost my ego or anything like that. It's just to help you guys that sometimes things don't go to plan, but it's what we do on the day, race day. Yeah, that's why I don't overshare or do any of that. And yes, okay, I kept this a bit secret, but I was undecided whether I'd do it, not do it. And I know that some channels out there love oversharing everything. Bit Instagrammy, really, I think. But hey, they can do what they want. I do what I want. Yeah, it's a free world that we live in. I set my mind. I do it. Similar to London Marathon, I set my mind to get that Guinness World Record. I did it. Let's see how things pan out for 2023. But I'm sure you'd agree, you couldn't ask for a better start to the new year. New year, same me, getting better, fitter, stronger. And I hope you guys will follow me along on this channel throughout this year. Tell your friends, family to come along and join. And like you've done, if you haven't already done so, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that alarm bell, share this with your friends, get your friends to come on board, because the series that I'm doing, the 119 days to London Marathon, will not only help you whether you are doing London Marathon for the first time, but whatever marathon, whatever ages we are. I believe it's all inclusive, whatever ages, genders, whatever we are. Anybody can do what they want to do if we set our minds to it. Well, almost anything. I'd love to be able to play international football, maybe for Italy or England. But I'm a tad old for that, yeah. I don't know whether they have masters teams at those soccer things, but hey, I think I would be totally rubbish. But anyway, that's another story. Amazing, yeah. What better way to start than the year? 2nd of January, qualifying for England Masters 10K. Here's the vest. Yes, England Masters. So this will be now the third vest that I've qualified at England Masters level. The first two were at marathon distance, and this is the first time at 10K. I may be looking at half marathon as well, and there's potential 5K, but for me, having been specialising at marathon distance, in essence, I mean, again, stating the obvious, shall I put this down? Stating the obvious for those of you that know, running 5Ks, 10Ks really quick at the top end to compete, not complete, to compete, it takes a bit of specialism. There are some people who are just great at all levels, and a lot of them have been running. I'm competing with guys who've been running for decades and decades. They were good when they were kids, and they're really good into their age groups. In fact, I think one of you guys commented, who's in the 55 to 60 age group, that some of the V60 guys came ahead of you in the half marathon race. Yeah, that's how fast people of my age are. They're just top athletes, and I'm competing with those. So to compete at marathon distance and 10K, it's pretty tough, you know, almost not doable for a lot. Certainly for me, I need to specialize. So going forward, we're going to look at different distances and so on. And whilst it worked for that 8-week, 10-week period to reduce the mileage and pick up the speed, let's see how the training is going forward. I do have some more races coming up that I've booked. Don't think I'll be racing them. My A race is London Marathon. But in terms of the other races, I have booked the A6 10K in London. I think that's July. I'm looking to book the Warwick Half Marathon, but that'll be a training run. And also I'm looking at some other races. I'll still do some more surprises for you, because obviously we don't want to share it all out, yeah? Keep you on your toes, but thank you so much for watching. I think I have whittled on quite a lot now. I will be publishing later the full point of view video of the camera on my chest of the race, so you get to see the whole time. It was sub 40, I think 39 minutes 40 seconds ish. So I'm sure you're going to look forward to watch that, and you'll see how I strategize of running with some people and others passing me and me passing others, because it's all about how we race on the day. But all I can say is I'm absolutely over the moon. And I hope you are too, sharing in the joy of running and loving each day, the training, because it's all about the train, race, pizza. Yeah? Thank you all so much for watching. Love you all. Take care. Bye, 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 bye. Ta-da! England, 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 England. La 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 la. England. Did you like that? I think I better switch this off now, yeah.